welcome back to another episode of FAP, aka Farruski's Anime Podcast. I love saying that. I'm joined today once again by Lewis, aka PlatinumBro, and Steve, aka Vaultboy Steve. How are you beautiful gents doing today?
Doing grand, lad. How about you?
I'm doing good. Lewis?
I am also doing pretty darn well, I have to say.
Good. Have you guys done anything exciting in the last couple of weeks? Anything worth talking about?
More Naruto,
Yes.
bit of gaming, and then of course just deep dives into Blood of Zeus.
Yes.
Pretty much the same for me. Blood of Zeus, that's essentially it. And Uncharted, of course, because I'm a masochist. So, you know, gotta go clean those.
That's
bad boys
right,
up.
yeah. Yeah. Uncharted and Brutal is actually
Uncharted
pretty
month.
brutal. Alrighty, so I've come up with like a little mini game. I don't know if you guys are going to like it or not. I thought it was like a pretty good idea. So you know, like in podcasts, usually when there's like more than two people, it can get a bit hectic because nobody knows like who talks first. So if I do like a little mini game at the start of the episode, it'll be like a sound cue, and you guys have to like guess what the sound cue is. Whoever guesses it right gets to speak first when it gets to the question. And that way we always know who's got to speak first. You have 3 hints each in case you guys don't get it the first time. And all you have to do when you want to answer is just like press your buzzer. Of course, FAP doesn't have the financial possibilities to get buzzers, so you're gonna have to do it with your vocal cords. You could do like a ha, and then you can say your answer.
I'm gonna go for a really deep one, like
Yeah, you can do like beat
like a vibration of a phone, so like no one can really tell that there's actually a noise, and everyone will be like looking around thinking, what's that really low key noise? That'll be my buzzer. So I'll probably never ever get the first choice of any questions.
Oh my god, this is gonna be great. Right, I've got a sound cue here. Are you guys ready? Have you guys got your mental buzzing noises available and ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What's yours?
The mic for this.
What's yours, Steve? Because I need to know in case you say it.
All right. Well, I was going to use a technological one, but I think I'll just go with honk.
Sounds good. Alrighty.
Fair.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will have my revenge.
Did you understand what it was?
I will have my revenge. But what?
I'll have my revenge.
I'll play it again.
Feels like it's Metal Gear
Hold
Solid
on.
or something.
I'll play it again.
What?
I will have my revenge.
I'll give you one free hint.
You definitely overestimated our ability of being able to differentiate these.
No. Like
things.
I think when I give you the hint, it'll sink in. So it's obviously because Blood of Zeus. So it's set in Greek mythology. Now don't forget, you guys have 3 hints each.
Is it something to do with God of War?
Yes.
It has to be.
Yes. Oh, is it Thor?
No.
Ah.
Is it the most recent God of War?
No.
Or is it? Right, so
Oh.
this is even. Oh. Can we hear
This
it
is
again?
this is OG God of War.
Okay, I've got an idea actually. I know.
Yeah.
Does Kratos say it to Zeus after he kills his spoilers after he kills his wife?
By the way, spoilers.
Is that it?
I don't actually know, but you got it right because I don't know. Like Kratos says it at some point, like he's falling into this pit of despair.
Details,
But it's like, okay, you got it right. So it's Kratos does say it like to Zeus. I will have my revenge, and it's basically, if I'm not mistaken, it's like in God of War 2 when Zeus kills him and he's falling into the pit of death for the second time, and he says it. I'll have my revenge. Well done. That's meant to be like the bells.
I've got a bad memory, all right? That's the difference.
So for this episode, the first to speak, I'll be Lewis, aka PlatinumBro 7. Well done.
Nice.
Alrighty, so
That was good.
if you haven't noticed by the overall theme of the channel and the little subtle, not so subtle hints we've been throwing about, we today are talking about Blood of Zeus, which is an anime series created by Netflix. So it's a Netflix original, if I'm not mistaken. So if you go to Netflix, it'll most probably be recommended. But will it be recommended by us? Well, you'll have to find out.
That's what matters.
Yeah, but you'll have to find out until the end of the episode. Right, so essentially it's set in ancient Greece, so you're gonna have a lot of Greek mythology with like mythical creatures and stuff. So if you are into that sort of thing, you will probably like it. It's only got 1 season with 8 episodes.
Expelliarmus. Expect a lot of that.
What?
Oh, that's Harry
screwdriver.
Potter, not Greek mythology. Apologies.
Wow. What a way!
Close enough.
What a way to like break the ice. I like that. Okay, so the first like and most important thing is obviously the first important thing. Is it fappable?
No.
Steve, it's meant to be Lewis. You lost the game.
I did actually, yes.
I feel like
Sorry.
to some people it's
breaking the
definitely
rules.
fappable.
Yeah.
To other people, it's not as fappable, and to some people, it's not fappable. That is like the most political answer I can give. I feel like it's not fappable for me, Joel.
No. Steve.
That's a non-answer right there.
No, I'm saying
the
no.
first
It's
answer
not
and it's
fappable. It's not fappable to me.
I'm saying the same.
Okay, I have to agree. I have to agree with both of you. I mean, it's got some. No, it's definitely. It's not. No. It's definitely not. Unless you're weird. But
If you love Greek mythology,
you just each to their own. If you're like a historian or something and you're into that sort of thing, then maybe. But yeah. So, first impressions. What did you guys think of? Like, before even getting into it, actually, what did you guys think of? Like, did you watch the trailer?
yes.
You didn't. I didn't watch the trailer
Oh.
either, to be fair. So, Lewis, what did you get out of the trailer, and then what did you get out of your first impressions?
So, I mean, it's about Greek mythology. So I thought it was going to be about a conflict between humans with like some sort of underpinning of Greek mythology. The most generic answer ever. Obviously, with the big hitters like Zeus, Ares, Hades involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started watching it, the first couple episodes, it did feel like that, and that's all I'm going to say. My first impressions, I think.
That's fair. About you, Steve?
First impressions, like you, I didn't watch the trailer. I thought it's best to go into this raw, just going, wanting to experience it as you would just randomly finding it.
No leave me.
And the name alone implies that, of course, it's either something to do with the bloodline of Zeus or Zeus is a bad guy in some way. And I was like, hey, I love Greek mythology. I like, Spartacus, Blood and Sand, all those series. They're awesome. They're definitely fappable, by the way. And then you get on to, of course, you've got the war games and the other Greek mythology. It's always awesome. It's always interesting. It's easy. How can you mess that up? But with this, when I came into it, not good. Not good signs.
Wow. So, I'm a bit in between. Like, I'm a bit in between both your opinions. To be fair, when I first saw it, like, my first impression was I just thought it was going to be God of War, the anime. And then after watching it a little bit, it felt a bit like Clash of the Titans, the anime. And then it kind of like turned into something that I can't even explain. It kind of just, it's on a good note, to be fair, they could have just copied like an already told story and made it an anime, and they tried going for their own unique story, which I can kind of commend them for it. I also think they could have approached it a little bit better as a whole.
I feel like how unique actually was it? Like, I don't want the viewers, our amazing viewers, to think that I have a fully negative opinion of the series because I don't. I think as we progress through this episode and we talk more into like certain relationships and stories and little story arcs, I think there is a lot of shine. I think there's a few diamonds in the rough here and there. But I wouldn't say this story is actually unique in any way, to be honest. I think they've taken a few things from some successful animes and some from like really successful films and sort of spliced it together into quite a generic story, I'd actually say.
So did you guys find it quite I did. I found it quite predictable most of the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, like you know what's gonna happen, and like a lot of the characters make like very generic like tropes, trope mistakes and stuff, and like things you're like, I've seen this person do the same decision, but in a film, in a different film or a different anime. But I suppose when it's a first series, you don't want to take too many extreme risks. You want to kind of put together a concise, strong, somewhat generic story that a lot of people can jump onto the bandwagon and enjoy it, and get hooked on it. So I can see why they played it a bit safe. Has it paid off? As well, we've got to think as well, who's the audience? Because I think people who love anime, I would say, I mean, I don't know people who love anime that many people, to be honest, but I think you can appreciate, like, there's some really good, like, graphics, there's some really good animations going on here. And I think, but then you think it must be for people who are coming into anime, because it's on Netflix, it's, you know, they're trying to push it as a very mainstream sort of TV show, and I think, is it good enough to bring new people across? Because I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. It's like you said. It's definitely, in my opinion, I agree. It's designed to get new people into anime. It's very short. It's 8 episodes, which I can say later. You know, that's what I think affected it for me. The shortness of it was the real problem. There's no room for character development. Everything feels rushed. It's all leading to the last episode, and even then, it's rushed. So it's hard to develop. Like most animes, you know yourself, the hundreds of episodes, or at least 100. You've got plenty of time to learn character development. This, you can. And that's what makes me think it was made for that, because most people haven't got the time investment. Therefore, 8 episodes, it's decent. The animations look really good, as you said, especially the gory ones, really gory decapitations, limbs getting cut off digits. They're really, really detailed. But it's like the Wish version. It's like God of War anime as presented by Wish. That's how I felt about it.
Yeah.
Overall.
Yeah, I can agree
I think
with that, actually.
I do think that the biggest letdown is the fact of how short it is. I think there's too many characters.
Yeah.
I would say there's too much going on, and it's like there's like people like Ares is like just Ares is in it, and he's in it probably for about maybe collectively 12 scenes, and I think he speaks like 3 times. It's like, well, just why is he even there? Because he's Ares, god of war. But other than the fact that he's Ares, god of war, he has no point at all in being there. They could have easily just been interchangeable with anybody else. And there's loads of gods. You see loads of gods, and you don't know who any of them are.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't know any of them are. I think you know who Hermes is. Hermes, Zeus, Hera, Ares, and Neptune. I think they're the only ones I can actually name.
Do you know what's hilarious about that? I had the subtitles on for some of it, and there's so many gods. It actually came up saying when they were talking in the background, like shouting it and heckling them, saying God 5, God 7, God 11. It was saying that.
Wow.
So that many gods in Olympus, wasn't even naming them. There was that many gods.
Wow.
And I was like, what the hell, man?
Wow.
Right.
I mean, Ares did have one badass scene, but other than that, I agree.
He did, but he could have, that badass scene could have been used to build up a character of one of the villains, but instead he's just like side piece. He just rocks up, looks a bit badass for a literally split second, and then just vanishes into dust.
Yeah.
But it doesn't vanish. Yeah, that's no spoilers. He just vanishes into the background of the story again.
We're trying so hard now not to like give away spoilers. I think it's getting to that like that line now. Is there anything else we can really cover without spoiling anything? Because I think we're probably, it's such a short anime with like 8 episodes. It's hard to like blurt things out without spoiling anything.
Looking through the black book, I can't see anything that we can else say without spoiling.
Yeah.
Perfectly honest.
I mean, I think if you've never watched an anime in your life, I wouldn't not recommend it. Like, I think there's some good stuff there, and it is short. And I think obviously we're going to be quite critical because we're quite passionate people, and we're passionate enough to make a podcast about talking about TV shows. So we're obviously going to be a bit overcritical. But I think if you are like a mainstream person who wants to get an anime, you kind of want to start something that's really small. Would I recommend it as your first anime? Probably not. But I don't know where I'm going with this.
I'd say definitely
You have raised
not.
a good point, because I know we said this is designed for people to first get into anime from the looks of it, but when you just said that, it raised a good idea in my head. Maybe this is why we would be more hypercritical of it, because we have seen stuff like Naruto, anime stuff, and Dragon Ball, so we expect a certain quality. So maybe a new anime viewer who's never seen anime, they might really like this, because they've not got that expectation like we have.
Yeah. What I would say though is, we've said that we think that the length of it is a big negative on it, and I can think of 2 phenomenal short animes. One Punch Man is 13 episodes long. It's really good. I recommend that to anybody who likes superheroes, likes comedy, likes anime. And then as well, Castlevania. So Castlevania came out with only 4 episodes in its first season, and that was created by Netflix as well. And that is 4 episodes, only 80 minutes, basically a small film. And I would recommend that to anybody who wants to get into anime because of how good it is. And I feel like those 2 are leagues ahead of this.
where was Castlevania made though? Obviously, One Punch Man is obviously on a completely different level because it was made in Japan. I think that's the main difference you see with Japanese anime compared to Western anime. Japanese have mastered anime, like that's hands down. It's their thing. Like it's like it's not even an argument. And I can see the Western producers now and they want to make anime like that, but I don't think Blood of Zeus is the right direction. Castlevania, I'm not sure where that was made. It may have been in the West. If it was,
I think it was West.
So if it was in the West, Castlevania is probably the way to go. I've not seen it, but from the things I've seen, reviews and people talking about it, it's definitely great.
It's really good, yeah.
And that's something that they should really concentrate on making more like that, rather than Blood of Zeus. I was a bit disappointed as a whole. I think I was expecting it to be a lot better, and I think I maybe wished it was. Maybe I did wish it was God of War the anime, because the story would have been so much better. Even if it was like a rewatch of it.
Yeah.
You know. Okay.
I can't think of anything else I want to say that is spoiler free.
Yeah,
I'm like biting. I'm chomping at. Is it saying chomping at the bit to unleash some spoiler rain?
All right, peeps. So
spoiler thunder.
If you guys want to watch Blood of Zeus, which as you can see, the three of us already don't really recommend it to you. I mean, it's even if you want to watch it, I don't think the spoilers are gonna like change your opinion at all. I think. If you're an avid anime watcher, you're probably going to hate it. I struggle to keep myself engaged. If you're a new anime watcher, I still think you're probably going to struggle to grasp the story. I think it's a very slow build-up. And for 8 episodes, I don't think that's an excuse for it to be a slow build-up. It should be...
very slow build-up with a very, very short climax.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's perfectly put in. And... again, touching on the bit for, you want to impress people with the first season. That's not the way to go. First season, like especially... The first episode was good. First episode was really good. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to maybe halfway through 6 was mediocre at best. Yeah. And then like from halfway through 6, 7, and 8, they were good, but personally, I didn't think it lived up to the first episode. I think the first episode was by far the best one, in my opinion.
I agree. I liked part of it. I would say I liked. I know it was quite a short climax, but I felt like the thing with it. I have a lot of questions, which we'll get to soon enough. I feel it left too much to be desired, but I do think the animation in the last episode, and I think episode 2 as well, when they were explaining. So basically, this isn't a spoiler to say that it's about there's demons in this world. And it's about like they play a part in the series, and I think is it episode 2 when they explain how the demons are made and like what's going on with how the gods and stuff dealt with them the first time. I thought that was really well done as well. So I think episode 1 and 2 I really enjoyed, and then it was like a slow decline to and then it felt like at times they spent like an entire episode fleshing out a character who then you're thinking like towards the end,
why?
Yeah.
Episodes 3 to 7 essentially felt like filler to me. For the most part, very little of anything substantive actually happened. But as you've already touched on, it's so predictable. So spoilers probably won't affect your enjoyment of the series if you watch it after, because you know what's going to happen. It's so obvious. It's written in the sand right in front of your eyes.
But just in case, I'm going to say now, there's going to be a big spoiler alert on the screen. Maybe I may not put it in, but. There probably will be a big spoiler alert on the screen. We're obviously going to move on to like spoiler territory. So if you guys want to go in blind or like half blind, because we've already like kind of spoken about it. But if you guys want to go in as blind as possible, like this is showing to Blood of Zeus, then turn off the video now. And thank you for watching and subscribe and all that good stuff, all that YouTube stuff. I'll leave these two guys' links down below.
Yeah. Also, you could always just pause this, watch it, and then just repause, then just play the rest of this, and then you can then listen to what we think, and then we can then fill you in with why you are so confused, because we feel the same.
That is a much better idea.
Long. It'll take you 2.5 hours to get through it, or whatever it is.
I think it's
under
like
3 hours.
Yeah, 2 30-minute episodes and then 6 20-minute episodes. So.
A much better idea.
I can't do maths.
than what I
think
just
it's
said.
about
I binged it and I regret it. I wished I spread it out over the weekend because that was torture.
It was a bit
out,
actually.
yeah.
It was a bit actually. I gotta agree. I watched it in like the span of 3 days, like at night where I usually watch anime, and yeah, it was. I think I fell asleep like twice, like
Wow. I
during
did 2
it.
episodes a day, I think, something like that.
So yeah, that's saying a lot. Right now, so first spoiler.
Can we put a timeout in quickly? 'Cause
Yeah.
I need a pee. Otherwise, I know it's distracting us already.
It's alright. I'm not actually gonna cut that out. I'm gonna leave that in.
I'm back, gents.
No worries.
There's no time to wash my hands.
I've just
I came back as
Oh.
fast as possible for you.
just make sure.
PS5 controller, man.
I'm sorry, I'm leaving that in as well.
Nonsense.
I just said to Steve, I was like, I'm not cutting out the timeout. I need a pee, but I'm gonna leave it in.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Remember, kids, wash your hands after toiletries. We're in very difficult times now. Right.
It's important.
So, now that all members are back and bladder empty, I hope. Steve, you bladder empty?
Relieved.
Oh, I can go for days, mate.
Okay, like a camel then.
I'll piss in a bucket if I have to.
Subtle brag.
Wow. This is taking like such a turn. Right, so, positives. What are the positives in your guys' eyes? From, I'd say as a whole, like the positive.
I thought Zeus's animation of lightning was just top quality, stellar. I think going from watching, I'm also watching Naruto at the same time, which is amazing, but it's older. The animation is top quality, and I actually think the best character is, I want to get his name right, so I've read it, is Seraphim, who is the antagonist, and I think he's the best.
Yeah.
Mistakenly, I think they've actually kind of like what they've wanted him to be this really bad person, and they've tried to humanize him, but then in the end they've actually made him out to be he's not even a bad guy. And I generally think for the Seraphim, I'm sure Joel will put a nice image in, which he has to put in now because I've mentioned it, looks like a badass demon. And if he didn't look like a demon, you'd think he was a good guy. You wouldn't think he was a good guy, but you would think he's just a guy with really bad luck. He's had a horrible life.
Yeah.
He's been manipulated. You know, he was like cast away at birth, almost killed by his uncle. Spoiler, going in heavy now. His like adoptive mother was murdered in front of him. He was blinded in one eye.
Yeah.
And then he was chased to the brink of death. And then in his last, trying to escape from almost dying, he accidentally touches this giant, which then gives him demon powers and turns him into a demon. He then uses his somewhat powers to basically kill all the nobles in the land.
Yeah.
That's pretty much where you find him at the start of the series, because he hates noble people because they've been treating him horribly. They've almost killed him, killed his like adoptive family, and he has a bit of hatred for the elite class, and that's kind of where it starts. And then they then sort of twist it. It sort of reveals all this, and then he ends up just being a pawn for Hera, who's the goddess. I'm not sure what she's goddess of, but he ends up just being her like pawn, and he hates it. He doesn't want to do it. He tries to like numerous times to try and like overthrow the gods. He doesn't want to fight in this fight at all, and he's just being used to do it. And then in the very end, he sort of just is dealt a bad hand again and dies.
Are you, Steve?
Well, first impressions, as I've already touched on, the animation was the best thing about it. Again, the gory detail. Every time you saw like digits getting chopped off, you could see the sinews, you could see the bone, everything in the fingers. That is top class detail right there. That was the number one thing. I mean, the first impression in the first episode where one of the demons puts his sword right through a centurion's face, right through his mouth, and then decapitates him from the mouth on the tree. That, when I first saw that, I was like, ooh, I'm gonna really enjoy this series. I mean, boy, was I wrong. But that was the first impression right there. Going through it again, there's several good characters. I don't want to touch on it yet because I'm pretty sure we're touching on favorite characters and stuff like that.
I've just done it.
Lewis has deep dived already. He's just gone head first.
I'm uncaged.
It's
I'm
kind of
unhinged.
like it's kind of like answer two questions in one.
But yeah, as for Seraphim, I wouldn't worry about the pronunciations because I noticed as well several times throughout different characters pronounce names differently.
Yeah.
Again, Seraphim was the most common one, but another one pronounced it something weird like Seraphim or something. It's like, get out of here with that posh stuff. Get your pronunciations right. But yeah, Seraphim, he's actually, I'll touch on it briefly, he's a really good character in the fact that he's like a secret protagonist. He's not the antagonist. He's literally got it worse than Heron, essentially. He is the normal person. He's a mortal to start with. He gets compelled by the giant's body to eat the flesh to become a demon.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I really liked him as well because the voice actor, Elias Tufexis, I believe pronounced
Yes, he voices Adam Jensen.
Yeah. I've watched him in plenty of things like The Expanse, and I follow him on obviously social media. I think he's a great voice actor. He's a great actor in general. So that kind of maybe tipped me in the direction of liking the guy immediately as soon as I saw him. Don't know. I'm biased.
See, I noticed that voice straight away, and I actually didn't.
Oh,
I found the voice jarring. If I'm being honest, I felt like it didn't associate well with the character initially. So then I was like, oh, I don't think the voice acts. I don't think the voice resonates with an evil character, but it turns out he isn't evil, and that's kind of like it's very like it's got a very like modest tone. And then I think you're right, he is definitely the secret protagonist. I think that is probably the thing they've actually done really well, and I feel that's why we've just slated quite aggressively. And I wanted to get my points across earlier on that there was some good parts of some duels in the dust. I think just the handling of his character was really good. The only downside is I would have liked to have seen potentially him turn back human, but in the end he gets a bad hand again, getting put in hell with Hades, and then he gets to ask to kneel and he refuses.
That
is a good ending for him.
If you're being honest, that is a possibility because he was actually sent on to one of the is it 7 or 5 rivers down to the underworld. So he was a ghost, but he was obviously asking Hades, was telling him to bow before him, of course, and that's when he did that epic scream again.
I don't think he would. I think he'd rather die.
It looked like he was basically saying "F this" with that scream he did. But they're going to use him going forward.
He's going to be. He's going to be a Kratos, but from the bottom up. You watch.
I mean, the river. I did research. The river is actually called Phlegethon or something like that. The river of flames and fire. I probably butchered the pronunciation, but
I was thinking. I was thinking of another. I was thinking of River Styx, but that's the River of Souls, isn't it?
Yeah. So this is again. It's something like Phlegethon or Phlegethon. It's basically flame and fire and brimstone. It goes into Tartarus, I believe. It's the torturous part of the underworld.
Yeah.
The most torturous part. That's where it leads to. So.
Can we also talk about another thing about Seraphim as well? Is he gets convinced by the gods to kill his own mother as well.
Yes.
Which he doesn't realize until the end. He's known nothing about his life, and he finds out that Hera is the one who's told him to kill his own kin, which is horrible.
But then the hatred she had. Okay. The only positive for me was that the ending was pretty surprising. Not surprising as in like the turn, like the whole as a whole, but Zeus sacrificing himself like that was surprising, and I liked it because I'm actually like going to move on a bit to my negatives now, but I don't think I don't. That was it. That was the only positive that I saw. Like I like the beginning, and then the build-up was it was just too slow. It dragged on too much. It, like Steve said, it felt like filler. Watching the middle of Blood of Zeus felt like watching a filler from Bleach or a filler from Naruto. It just wasn't interesting. It was just wasted screen time. I think they could have done so much more with those episodes, and they didn't. It was like chitter chatter here and there. Half the things they said they could have just scrunched into like one 15-minute segment, and that was it. And then more action and.
Tons of B-roll as well. Tons of B-roll. Yeah. Worthless B-roll.
Yeah.
I would like to really hang fire and criticize the writing in it, in fact. And I think that at times it's fine, but the entire plot comes around the fact that Zeus is an absolute top shagger and just goes around shagging loads of mortal women, having loads of demigod offspring, can't contain himself, and then ultimately the entire series is based around his wife Hera turning on him and wanting to kill him for sleeping around. And it's like it's such a
lazy.
Yeah, it's lazy, and I think as well it's such a human problem. It's not a problem worthy of the gods, and I think it's fine to say that gods have human problems because in theory, in these worlds we're all descended from gods. Gods make humans, so it's right in thinking that they'll have such similar problems, but also at the same time it's like. It's just too human, and I think it doesn't decide what it wants to be. It's like, does it want to be a human story about humans versus evil, or does it want to be a story about gods v gods? Because it starts off about Heron, who we've only mentioned just now. We're like 40 minutes into the podcast, and we've just mentioned the protagonist now because he's so like forgetful.
Yes.
Is it about him and his fight against evil, or is it about because halfway through it sort of flips on its head and just forgets about him and starts talking about how it's all about these gods squabbling. And it's just like, what is it? You've got 8 episodes to tell one story, and you're going to tell 2 poorly.
I think have
Not
we
even,
have we
not even two. They're going to many, like you said, with Seraphim as well. They're just mixing them all in there.
I don't even know if we've started on negatives yet, but we might as well just carry on. Like, those,
I think this has been negative.
There's some pretty negative points right there. Go on, Steve. Yeah, sorry.
I've lost my train of thought. Carry on. You were going to say something.
I was literally just thinking, like, if we start on negatives, because I mentioned the negatives, and like, but we might as well carry on because like we've all said pretty negative things. So like negatives
Right.
of the anime, like, what do you
Going
think?
on what Lewis said, it's pretty much a trope, right? In every single Greek mythology I've watched, Zeus is always, he's always shagging around. That's him.
Yeah, he is.
Loves it.
He's transmogging into several different things. Impresses a random mortal woman. Gets up with duff, whatever. That's another bastard child right there. That's what he does. But of course, it's like, again, another trope on top of that. Hell have no fury, like a goddess's wrath or whatever the bloody saying is. Hera, why would she care? I mean, a human woman would care because, of course, infidelity. He's shagging around. It's bad. Kick him out. Simple as that, right? But with Hera, she's so above it all. Why would she even give a shit? They're like immortal, right?
They're tens of thousands of years old. You think you'd evolve past that?
Yeah, exactly. No doubt she would have in other mythology. She would have been, doing the same thing, right? So
because
why would they care?
They like to be worshipped. Gods like to be worshipped, and the best way to be worshipped is by sex. It's always has been. It's always been known. It always has been. So Hera would have done the same because men would have worshipped her. I agree.
And I didn't like that as well. The nuke you liked at the end when he self-nuked himself, I didn't like it. I was actually, when the snakes grabbed Hera, I was hoping they're going to rip her in two.
I was thought it was going to be a brutal death. I was like, damn, this is going to be naughty.
I had a smile on my face. I was like, finally, something good. I'm finally going to see something.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then he goes in there, sacrificed himself, and she still died, right?
No, she got arm chopped off and teleported away.
Teleports. I thought she got stood on. So there you go.
No,
That's how disinterested I was in it at that point.
Yeah.
I want to say one. I know we're talking about negatives, but I looked at my notes and there's one positive.
By the
from
way,
the story from the writing that I actually enjoyed, and that was when Heron goes in like the 6th or 7th episode. He goes to speak to these
the fates.
The fates, yeah, and they explain that what free will is, and they say like, well, everyone's got free will. If a baby's on a table and he's walking towards falling off, and you're watching it, you can stop it and intervene. And that baby had free will to do so, but you've intervened because you can see it more, and that's how the gods see the earth. But then they have this. That's the only good bit, because then they have this rule where it's like the gods can't intervene, and that's another thing that happens is that the rules are the gods cannot intervene with human affairs, and then Zeus just keeps doing it, and he keeps like stopping it, saving his kids, and then in the end, they're like, that's what causes the diversion in the gods, and that's why Ares sides with Hera. I lost my voice there. That's why Ares sides with Hera, and a lot of the other ones side with him is because like Zeus is just abusing his power. He's king of the gods, and he's just doing whatever he wants, and he's disturbing the balance essentially. And yeah, it doesn't make sense that like apparently they can't intervene, but they know what fate is, and then just the hell with it. I'll just do what I want.
They were trying to say it as Zeus was subtly. He wasn't actually directly intervening. They were trying to show like he was just like waving his hand, just influencing.
But then as well,
it's only when he got involved and started throwing the lightning bolts out of his ass. That's actually like
when he
went going down.
But also as well, like Hera was doing it anyway. So that's another thing. Hera was like, "Oh, Zeus, you can't do it. You threw a lightning bolt." But Hera's like manipulating everybody. She's like meeting up with Seraphim, making them kneel, telling them to do things, bossing them about. She's influencing the leader of an entire army that wants to destroy the planet. It's probably more influence than just Zeus throwing a lightning bolt at the sea. So it's kind of like it's just so like hypocritical all of the time. It's like one rule for one, not for the other one, and they're both like king and queen. So it's like
she was using Jedi mind tricks to basically influence the exact thing she wanted, which was revenge on Zeus.
Yeah.
So she was the mastermind behind it all, really. She was the one truly betraying the fate.
I have to agree. I also think that I didn't like that not many people died. I think a lot more characters should have died.
What was with that? The side piece, Heron's like kind of female friend, and then the two other characters like I put in when Heron gets captured. And he ends up teaming up with the gladiator and the guy with the whip. Like, what was the point in any of that? They've got these characters, right? I mean, understand she kind of moves the plot along to start with because she's like running through the town with this map, and then but after that, her purpose in this entire series is gone. And then sort of just tag her along, Heron's met her literally like for 3 days collectively, and now he's like in love with her. And then he introduces these 2 side characters who literally don't do anything other than do things that Heron would have done anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's so much filler, and it's like we don't have time. It's 8 episodes long, and we're spending an hour, 3 episodes or something, going through these with these characters who we don't even know what they're called.
It was Alexios, right? Something like that. She was like a centurion. Alexios or something. The writing must have been so bad. I didn't even realize he was in love with her. I just thought he was just there to like help her.
Well, I wouldn't say in love. It's like mild, like a mild love interest because of like the way the accent. I think it's literally like he comes off the boat and then the guy's like, "Oh, steady on, lovebirds." Like, oh, okay, they're a thing now. Like, great.
I barely even perceived any emotion from any of it. It just felt like watching something flat. I couldn't, connect with the emotions of it.
No, I couldn't.
I mean, I feel like it was short, and because it's short, you only have time to connect with a couple of characters, and the only characters I really kind of connected with was Seraphim because he got quite a lot of screen time. I didn't mind Zeus and I didn't mind Hera, although at times the writing's bad, and they're the only characters I kind of thought had any depth at all. But you probably could have got away with having them 3 and like just pawns and Heron, and that would have been enough.
Yeah. Heron was lazy the whole series. From his character, he was boring. There was nothing to him. All the way to his actual godlike power. It was the laziest thing I have ever seen. Oh, what are we gonna give Heron? They could have thought of something different. Oh, let's just give him Zeus's powers. What? Why?
Yeah, because all of Zeus's other sons don't have the power of lightning.
No, exactly.
Like...
So why would he?
Mm-hmm.
Why would he?
Generic demigod number 5.
And yeah. And the other thing I didn't like was the animation. I know you guys say you love the animation. I hated the animation. I thought it was robotic. I thought the frames dropped to a stupid extent. Some of those frames, oh my god! I was like, is there something wrong with my internet? Like,
nah, man.
What is this?
You're right. It really was. It was like I don't know what frame rate it was, but it felt like it was like
10,
15.
Yeah, it was horrible.
It's like I've done something in After Effects and I've specifically put an FPS limiter on it to give it the animation feel. That's how it felt. And
I would say, no, go on.
I was going to say, it has got detail and stuff in parts, like the decapitations and stuff, but at other times, the animation looks horrible. Like, you see sometimes standing in Olympus, and you're looking at Zeus from behind and stuff, and it's so simple.
Yeah.
Like, even something a novice, like, I could do that frame in probably an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm a novice in Photoshop without any... That's bad.
Don't get me wrong, I love the gore. I love the gore.
The gore was brilliant.
The gore was great. It was awesome. It was really... I've not watched an anime with gore for quite a long time, so that was a nice change. But that was it from the animation. Like, I thought the rest of it was just disgusting.
I think I wouldn't say it was disgusting. I think there's some really good animation. I think it was definitely coupled with extreme of both sides. I mean, as someone who's only watched not loads of anime, but as I'm watching more and more, you can tell when they put certain scenes in anime just to save on like animation.
Yeah.
So they'll put like conversations of like 2 heads popping amongst each other and stuff. I did find there was a bit of that, probably too much for an 8-part series. I'm not going to lie, there's probably easily 4 to 5 minutes per episode, kind of like that. So I do understand.
They blew the budget on the last episode.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
Blew the budget, and then you have to do, everything else.
It was still underwhelming. I still think the first episode was better than the last one.
It was good. It was a good introduction to the characters. I've got one really burning question, which is really, really annoying me to the point of like, it's a massive plot hole. Right, so Heron has to climb the top of this mountain to get these special coals to build this special sword.
Yeah,
does a special sword, yes, and it can cut through literally anything. It is the most powerful. It's basically a lightsaber essentially, but it can cut through literally anything. And it's not in the film. It's not in it. So it's like they literally build up this massive weapon, and then he just gets it and just chucks it away.
Yeah, he does.
Right? Because he's annoyed that he finds Zeus out with his dad, and he never goes back and collects it. And they just forget about it. Then Seraphim gets it, and they're like, "Oh, you have to go get this sword. It's really powerful." He gets it. And then he's like, use it for a little bit, then drops it in some rubble, and then he gets his spear out, no problem, and leaves it. Bear in mind, that sword could cut through gods, could cut through his spear, could do literally anything. That sword alone makes Heron probably as strong as a lot of the actual gods, and it's like, no one cares about it. Like, why is no one using this? Why is Hera not used it? Why has she not went and got it? Because with that, she could kill all of the demons, all of the giants, literally everybody, and it's just like, why mention it? Are you going to just try and bring it in season 2? Because it seems like
it
a
was
massive
left.
waste.
What even happened to it?
It gets
was
buried
left-
in a volcano or something.
Do you remember when he went to get the cauldron from the and he fought the big robot Centurion thing? He obviously that was the only thing that could damage it, and he threw it through the Centurion's hand. It went through, went into his eye, and then that's the last time we
that's
saw it.
right. Yeah, that's right.
No, that's not.
He skipped,
No.
he skipped over. He grabbed the cauldron. He went under the water, pulled it out, and then that's the last thing we saw, from what I can remember.
I thought you used it in the last fight. You used it in the last battle.
No. Is that Seraphim who does that?
Yeah.
Yes, Seraphim. Remember, he goes against
Yeah.
that big giant robot, and then he slashes its arm, and its Achilles tendon, and then he goes on to he puts his hand up straight through the hand, right into the eye. Awesome scene, I will say.
That was quite cool.
And then he just grabs the cauldron while he's on his knees, and then just jumps in the water, flies out, and I think that's the last time we see it. I mean, like you said, it is a lightsaber. It sounds like one even as well. On the boat, you could hear it. Like, vroom.
I just feel like Zeus knows he's made the most powerful weapon that's ever existed in all time. He's like, oh, by the way, he doesn't even say that, Heron. Oh, Heron, where's your sword? You know, one that's like basically a god killer, could kill all of us. Oh,
I threw it
How
because I
bad
was
is that
angry.
as well? How bad is that on Heron? That's even more example of bad character development. Yeah, you might hate Zeus at this moment, but why would you throw away something like that? Such power.
Exactly.
It's like it's so stupid.
If he'd kept that when his mum was about to get killed, he probably could have killed them all.
Yeah.
He would
He
have.
would have saved her.
Big time.
Maybe that's why plot
Without a
armor,
doubt,
but just
yeah.
like
Plot
you know,
armor.
Zeus would be like, okay, where's the sword? Oh, I don't know. Right, okay, well Neptune controls the seas, so we'll find it within seconds. So don't worry. It's like it just doesn't make sense that they would just have this. It's just stupid. It is just ultimately it's just stupid. That's the problem with it.
Lazy
Just
writing.
bad writing, lazy bad writing. It might as well have not been in. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because if they're going to use it as like a plot device for season 2, they could literally went, "Oh, Zeus made this for you, and he's going to give it to you when you're ready, and now you're ready." You know what I mean? That would have made more sense. Well, maybe it would. That's still terrible writing, but it's definitely better than what they did.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think the more we go into this podcast, the more we're all agreeing that it was just a waste of time. Waste.
You know, I really
the
hope-
waste of 8 episodes. We could have watched Naruto with this time.
Yeah. I really hope this hasn't got a good rating on IMDb, because if it has, where he sat here trashing the shite out of it.
Yeah, but this is
That's not 10.
This is our opinion though. Like,
Really
I'm
good,
sure if you go to Netflix, it's gonna be like one of the top
5 stars.
anime to recommend.
Didn't they take the stars off though, because their stuff started getting reviewed? bombs
Yeah,
a
they
long
did.
time
Yeah,
ago?
yeah, they did.
7.6 out of 10 on IMDb.
I think
That's too high.
That's too high. I think. Yeah.
I'm going to
About
go
right,
Metacritic,
That's
'cause-
effing vertical.
What about Rotten Tomatoes? Rotten Tomatoes are
think
usually
so.
pretty brutal.
Oh yeah, Rotten Tomatoes. is
I
probably
like
better.
them. Because if they see something that's shit, they will tell you it's shit. And I
Oh my
love that.
god.
Oh no, this is bad news.
No way.
Audience score 80%. Tomato meter
What?
100%.
Nah, man.
Are you serious?
Was the person who watched this deaf and blind?
Wow. No, this
I
is.
feel like
this
if I
is-
didn't know us any better, I'd feel like there's something wrong with us. But I'm
If
not.
anybody in the
Oh, hold
comments
on.
has watched Blood of Zeus, please let us know what you think. Because as you can see or as you can hear, like the 3 of us, it was just awful. Not
now.
It was a pile of horse shit with some bits
some
of gold.
good
just-
bits.
You know what? It's the thing is,
Placed in
it just feels like a couple 20-year-olds who've watched a couple movies wrote it.
Yeah.
And it feels like someone who doesn't watch anime has wrote it, and someone who hasn't really got any experience directing and writing films. That's how it feels like to me.
Yeah.
It feels like really lazy and really rushed, and not only rushed in its animation, the writing is throughout
The pacing.
rubbish and ridiculous amount of plot holes throughout. And that is the major plot hole in my opinion, is about the sword. But again, it's just childish, like all the stuff with the gods and stuff. Like I'm looking through some of the reviews on Tomato Meter saying like, oh, great conflicts amongst the gods, and I'm like, no,
I didn't
it's
think
not.
so.
It's like really basic storytelling, which is like for children.
Have
Maybe
these
yeah,
people
maybe.
played God of War? If they played God of War games, I think their opinions would be,
Oh, yeah.
The thing-
flipped upside.
I'm not going to sit here and say God of War's good storytelling. I'm not going to sit here and say that the original
But
games.
the conflicts,
The conflicts, yeah, you're right.
night and day.
I like God of War because they're not scared of killing off significant characters. And I think that's what was missing. I'm not saying like wipe out all the gods. Like don't no, but at least like
It's like-
four or 5. Like give them.
It's like the gods that were killed were the god number 7, god number 11. That's what we kept seeing.
Yeah.
It was those insignificant, no-name gods that were getting
Yeah.
killed.
I've just read a review that says this TV series is very mediocre, which I think we're raining on it hard. I wouldn't say we are raining on this hard. I'm dropping some serious elbow bombs on this, but I wouldn't say it was
abysmal.
I wouldn't say it was really bad.
It's not abysmal. It's not abysmal.
I think we're being I think I'm being overcritical because you can criticize flaws and still enjoy something. I don't think I enjoyed it massively, but I'd say for me it's probably around a 5 or 6 out of 10.
I'd say 5.
Just bang on mediocre, and I think I don't think it does anything particularly well. I think a lot of people could do better.
Yeah, I'd say 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. Wow.
That's really low.
It's Greek mythology. There's so much lore there. There's no way you should be able to screw it up this badly. Yet they have, like you said, novice storytelling, novice pacing, novice animation for the most part, and just simply no depth. And not again, maybe it was the episode count that forced their hand in that direction. But if that's the case, it's Netflix. Ask for more episodes. You've got the money. I don't understand.
Yeah, I think they could have cut out a lot of that stuff and made it 6 episodes, and then cut out a lot more and then changed it to 8 episodes, or maybe done about 12. I don't think it had to be loads. I think maybe like 15 would have been better.
I would have
flesh out a lot more of the characters.
I would have said less is more. Because the first, especially with it only being the first season you want to yes, you want to give the characters a little bit of character development, but you don't want to just throw everything that these characters are all at once. You want to throw as much action as possible so people are hooked, that people go for the action. Because if you go for the action, you're going to stay to see the characters develop. But if you're looking at the characters develop slowly and there's no action, you're going to get bored. Because there are other shows out there that are better.
I think as well, people who like anime like to see strong characters physically. They want to see the protagonists blow away thousands of enemies, and they want to see the antagonists do the same. I think Heron, who's the protagonist of the series, he does nothing, and he kind of gets his ass kicked all of the time. And then in the end, you don't even see him have a fight off against anybody other than Seraphim. Hi. Bye.
Hello there.
Hello.
So you don't even see him. I lost my trail of thought. All you see is you only ever see him face off against very minor foes, and it's I kind of feel like it would have been good to see him fight loads of demons, develop as a character, develop his physical prowess, which he just doesn't really do.
Oh yeah, the training scene as well. That was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I like that.
I will say though, the quote was actually pretty damn good though. You know, the quote that Zeus gave him. Again, I say that even though I can't remember it, but I have written the bloody thing down. So talk amongst yourselves while I find it.
Well, I'm going to move on to.
Oh, you found it.
Oh, you found it.
True power is found when one is calm, and then look inward. That is a really good quote.
That contradicts everything about Dragon Ball.
But also as well, Heron takes it way too literally. So look within, okay, spear through my chest.
Yeah.
Is that too literally, Heron? Potentially.
Yeah.
I thought that when I was tired. It was going, look within. He was like, okay. I was like,
I'm going all the way.
I don't think that's what he meant. I think he meant look within to find strength, not stab yourself in the chest.
You can just see
Zeus. It was a great quote.
Just see Zeus in the underworld,
God damn. That's not what I meant. You fool.
Do we have any favorite characters?
Oh yes, but only one.
Only one.
Yeah, Seraphim. I've already sort of spilled my guts about him.
You have, yeah. What's your favorite character, Steve?
However, are we doing favorite villain and favorite hero, or are we just going to go for the favorite character?
If we have, well, I'm going to do character, villain, and then hated characters.
I'm going to just bow out, and I'm going to say I didn't like any of the characters other than Seraphim. So that is my opinion.
That's fair.
All right, so for a favorite hero, if you could call it a hero, mine would be Zeus. Because I'm used to Zeus being the bad guy in generally all the stuff, like in God of War. He's always a hated character. But in this, for the most part, even though he was his womanizer self, he was actually a good character. He was trying to help Heron. He was even, because his son is protecting him. He went into that village, clouded it all up to protect all of them. And his, I can't remember the mother's name. This is how much of an impression it's left on me. But that it was the coolest character I could see that was a good guy in a way. So that would have to be my vote, because Zeus was pretty much impressive all the way through for me as far as a character that I liked. And that's probably an indictment on the series, who knows?
I liked Hermes more than I liked Zeus. It was like the probably a bit of a pussy, but he was a kind soul as well. Like he was genuinely nice. He was genuinely good. Like the other gods, they were all superior in their own certain way. Whilst Hermes, he was kind of just, you know, he did his job as a god, and you know, he didn't hate on anybody. He didn't really take sides. He just took like the side of righteousness.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's probably the only good guys in the
Yeah.
whole thing. Like
That's
just one, like quite one-dimensional, but good throughout.
and he got his ass whooped as well. That was a
He
bit-
did.
I actually thought he was gonna die. Part of me was hoping he was gonna
Yeah.
die, so something exciting happened, but it didn't. He just got
But
his
no.
ass whooped. But yeah,
It held back a lot of its punches throughout.
yeah, he did.
Like even like Ares, like had the point where he had one of the gods about to kill him, and rather than kill him, he just throws him in the sea.
Yeah, Apollo.
But then
Wasn't
maybe that was kind of like they didn't want to kill each other because they're only fighting. It's only Hera and Zeus fighting each other, so they actually don't want to kill each other. They just want to sort of resolve the conflict.
it? Yeah,
Who knows?
you're not gonna kill each other. Why fight? No? Unless it's like an organized fight. Like, but this is like in my opinion, this is like an all-out war. Essentially, the gods were saying, "You're either with me or you're against me." With a Hera, and they kind of shunned Zeus out. And so you would have
Seraphim
think.
literally said,
So you would have think when the gods did clash, it would have been like a life or death thing, not just a bit of a brawl
interesting.
here.
You don't see any of the gods fight each other either, other than that one scene. Like even though it's like kind of like Hera and the gods versus Zeus and his sons, essentially that's all that's left. Him and Zeus and Neptune and his sons. It's kind of like, well, it's actually just them versus the demons in the end. It's actually the gods don't really fight each other.
After Zeus got shanked in the neck like a beast.
Yeah.
that was a bad cliffhanger, that as well, you know.
That was.
I thought he was
like-
gonna die actually.
Well,
I did.
Did you?
I did.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought he was gonna die.
You both thought he was going to die?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought it was such a bad cliffhanger because I was like, that's not going to kill him. A knife in the neck, it's a normal knife. He's not going to die. And then obviously next episode, yep, healed.
Magic. Healing. Force heal.
Yes.
No wait.
Pretty much.
That's something else that.
My electricity
It's,
heals wounds.
He's using Palpatine's lightning right there. That's a mixture.
Unlimited power.
So do you have a favorite villain? Or Seraphim? Favorite character, favorite villain?
It's Seraphim for me, just like
Yeah. I
Zeus.
agree.
I mean,
He's-
I won't call him a villain, but he is. But then he's not. He's a half protagonist, half antagonist. But he is the most coolest character. I think.
He's the only
actually,
character that has
on it.
depth.
Yeah. He is the true hero, in my opinion. Actually, I'm just going to say it. Heron's not the hero of the story. He's just there for the feel-good ending. Seraphim was the main character who's being held down, going through all this hardship, and he's the one that, again, had all the character development depth. So for me,
Yeah, he did. I hated characters.
one.
I only have.
Go on.
Well, I have two. Have you got any?
I'll let you go first because I need to warm up. I'm not sure if I hate any of them enough. Maybe if you start speaking, I might
Okay.
burn
Which
some members.
Steve?
It's Hera.
Hera.
Because again, there's no reason why she should be acting like that as a god. There's no reason she should be so pissy, and that alone, she caused all of this mess. It was all her fault from start to beginning, basically. So that's why I hate her. And again, getting his mother killed with her actions just because she's been pissy over this. It's like that's the only character that really stood out as like I don't like her at all.
I just found her annoying. She was just
Yeah.
annoying. She was just. Oh, I just
felt
wanted
like-
her to die. That's all I can say.
I suppose the question is, all of us will be saying, I think, that any of the reasons the gods used to start a war amongst themselves probably would be petty for them because they're meant to be gods. I think I didn't dislike her. I think she was an okay villain. I think she was scheming, and I think that was cool. But I think obviously their actual reasoning for doing it did seem trivial and superficial for someone who's like tens of thousands of years old.
The other character I actually hated was Theogonus. He's a very like small. He only had like 3 episodes screen time. The dude, the old dude with like the green coat, the noble that Seraphim cuts in half. You know where he's saying,
Yes,
Yeah, it was
I know
very
his
nice.
first name. It was Eratus.
yeah,
Eratus.
he
Yeah.
pissed me off. First of
He
all,
got his just desserts.
First of all, when he was beating up Heron, and then the second when Heron was running and he just closed the gate on him. It's like there's no need for that. Like everybody is literally getting mauled. Why do that? Like
Wasn't he the same guy as well who only offered 2 drachmas for all that ore at the start?
Yeah, it
Like,
was. Yeah.
yeah.
and looked down at him. Was like, you're only getting 2 drachmas because you're a peasant essentially. It's like
that's so much satisfaction when he got chopped in half.
oh yeah,
It was
that,
great.
that was one of an awesome scene.
That
the
was.
detail and the disembowelment and everything. I was like, oh yes,
Yeah.
a moment of pleasure.
So yeah, I didn't think I disliked any of the characters, to be honest. I think a lot of them were pretty forgetful. I think that was my main criticism of the characters. I didn't like any of them other than Seraphim. I think the rest just didn't get enough time. Didn't get enough screen time to really develop any hatred or like for them.
I'm just
I
very
would probably say Heron is probably the worst protagonist that I've ever watched, though, up there. I've never watched a TV show and thought, this guy is just, he's got no personality, he's generic, and he just serves, other than moving the plot along, it just seems so pointless.
as a main character, yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah. He could have been a
yeah.
side character,
Yeah.
but he was kind of like the focal point of the series, but he kind of wasn't. That was the thing. It was like, he's really important. Oh, who's Heron? Let's forget about him for 2 episodes, talk about everything else. Back to our main character, and it was like, which is he?
Yeah.
Is he a side character or is he the main character? Because without him, there's no clear protagonist.
I actually think he's the side character. I don't think he's the main character of the series. I reckon.
Who is?
I reckon the conflict between Zeus and Hera and the consequences of that caused. I think they're the main characters. Maybe Seraphim.
Interesting.
I was thinking Seraphim.
I think
myself.
them 3. Because
If that's the case, then he's not too bad, to be fair.
I think I just don't know. It's so confusing because there's just so much going on, and with some episodes they kind of throw something at you that they want you to be as significant, and then they kind of just like cut it off and throw something else at you, and then they cut that off and then throw the other thing back at you, and it's just bad directing. I think it is bad sort of probably not bad storytelling, but bad, like, it's a bad timeline, I think. I think they could have maybe these little arcs or these little stories, they could have maybe prolonged it as like one chunk and then another one as one chunk, and then in the end then it all comes together as one. I think that would have probably worked better rather than trying to like fit every single character's little part inside every single episode. Like, there's no need for that, I don't think.
Yeah, fair. I mean, I do think, as I said, that the best arc is definitely Seraphim's. I think he's the only good character in the whole series. I think that probably could have still been handled better.
I think it's
even
good.
still that
You can relate to him, I think, with Seraphim.
Yeah.
Because if you had the life that he had, which his life, keep in mind, is full of, it's just
Horrible.
hatred
Yeah, poor guy.
through and through, and then you had that boost of power that you could do something about the people who put you down. Every one of us would probably end up like that, especially with his mind being corrupted by eating the flesh anyway.
Yeah.
Because let's not forget that, like, he may have not turned out that bad if he didn't always have that Titan egging him on. Do this, kill him, you can. You have the power, why don't you? And obviously after years of that, because it was years of that, and becoming a leader of a literal cult, you just become bloodthirsty.
I feel like as well, though, Zeus says he has the power to cure him, and now Zeus is dead, so he can't. But I also feel like he probably would have taken him up on the offer if Zeus had spent a bit more time talking about what was going on and explained things. He might have said, you know what, yeah, it's not worth it. I don't want to kneel to anybody. I just want to live a normal life. And Zeus probably could have done that for him, but just doesn't get a chance, which is a shame.
Yeah.
I mean, he did say at one point to when he found his uncle and kicked his ass and
Oh, that was brutal.
That was brutal.
beat him into
I like
a
that.
bloody pulp. That was awesome. That was
I like
actually
that.
pretty good. We got to say some good things, but he did say to his uncle, "Then I wouldn't kill a child," which again is another example of him being more of a protagonist and an antagonist. And his uncle said, "Well, that's what makes you weak."
I think he's an anti-hero.
He is.
Yeah.
I think he's an anti-hero. I think he's like
A vigilante.
Yeah,
almost.
he's like, he could be pretty brutal. Like he had no need to kill his mother. Let's just throw that in there. Like, he had no need. He could have just let it go and whatever, just leave. She wasn't doing any harm. She wasn't doing anything.
She was a peasant woman to him at that point. She was nothing.
Exactly. So he could have just left her. So he did that wrong, but
And yeah, we don't even know how many people he's killed as well up to the start of it. But I think that shows obviously his progression as a character. That by the end of it, he doesn't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Well, no, somewhat less.
we
less
found-
urge to kill.
we found out as well that he was only doing that thing because he was after his uncle. He'd never found his uncle. And then once he
Yeah.
found his uncle, once he actually, because that was his purpose, finding the person that made him that like that. Once he found him, I think it kind of like changed with him because he still wanted to overthrow the gods though. So he kind of wanted to end their reign. And then obviously
that's
it
the
came
reason
with
he was
that.
working for Hera. He was working for Hera because he wanted the location. That was the only reason, and Zeus gave it to him.
Yeah,
As a sign of good faith.
exactly.
And like you said, after that, he wanted to overthrow the gods. Maybe that's the flesh talking, because they will be indoctrinated by the
But the
giants,
Titans, yeah.
Titans and stuff. So maybe that's the reason why
Well,
he was
he
unhinged.
wanted to overthrow it, didn't he? Though he wanted to overthrow the gods. By that point, he thought, you know what, these people are just worse than me. The worst thing people have ever met. I feel, you know, he said to Heron, "We can do it together." They might not be able to. Maybe with that blue ninja sword. To be fair, they might be able to cut them all apart.
The blue
But-
ninja sword.
Yeah, but they didn't. But they forgot about that. That was the problem. Seraphim was like, "Oh, if only I had something that could help me kill Hera.
If
If only I
only.
had a really powerful weapon." Oh, oh, it's gone. I can't remember. I'm sure someone mentioned something about. I'm sure I had something that was like really really powerful. I can't remember now. Well. But
If Hera had used that instead of that shitty knife she used, she would have killed Zeus right there.
yeah,
So,
she's
Yeah,
like,
she would have.
Yeah.
She would have
She knew where it
decapitated him.
was.
yeah.
Right. Do you get? There's like a favorite wifey here, but there's not really that many character development to be there in it.
The only nipples that I saw was on one of the Titans,
Yes, I remember that. But
and that was not a good sight.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
Actually, there was
no.
two. There was one that had like 3 breasts, and there was another that had like 5.
I just remember the one that crawled on its mouth with a jagged jaw and it had like
Oh,
massive
yeah.
banana nipples, you know, kind of thing. So super
unsettling.
obvious. Yeah.
Yeah, here first, Vaultboy Steve does not like banana nipples. Favorite
Obvious.
ability or power transformation. I don't think there's. Well, I mean, I suppose we could do like favorite power. Maybe if you want to choose one from the gods.
How many do we actually see? We see Zeus's like lightning. We
yeah.
see Hera's like manipulation of
We
like.
see
being able to,
Hermes
like,
speed.
Yeah.
You see,
And
you
invisible
see,
as well.
you see a few of the Titans' abilities. Some of the Titans' abilities are quite brutal. Like the flying
Aren't their
one.
abilities all basically just like laser beams and like the flying one? It just sucks them into its hot wings, and that's like
Is it hot wings? I thought it was like I thought you had like
it was like a beam, like a UFO beam
entities like
shine
grabbing.
down. It
I'm
might
gonna
be,
say
but-
my favorite was Neptune, just because I'm just fresh off watching Aquaman, and I feel like the power of the ocean is pretty badass. I feel like he doesn't really get a chance to use it because he could like just flooded the entire battlefield and killed them all, but instead of doing that, he just like sort of gets a little bit of water and just throws at them, like
Oh.
meh, like a water gun.
I love how you call him Neptune.
Yeah. Well, who is he?
Poseidon.
Poseidon.
Yeah.
Nah, it's the same.
Is
Same
it
time.
Poseidon? You got me
It's
thinking
Poseidon,
now.
yes.
So where's
It's
Neptune?
Poseidon. It's
Where's
Zeus's
Neptune?
brother.
Neptune's the
Who's
planet.
Neptune?
Neptune. I'll find out for you while you talk, but yeah,
Is
it
Neptune the
Poseidon.
Norse god?
I know that Neptune is also the god of like water. I'm pretty sure. Is he?
Steve will find out. But anyway, like I
Neptune,
feel
Latin Neptunius in Roman religion, originally the god of fresh water. By 399 BC, was
right.
identified as the Greek identified with the Greek Poseidon, and thus became a deity of the sea. So it might be the same person. It's just he got a name change.
Huh,
potato potato.
that's hard.
Google for the
Neptune,
one.
Poseidon.
Poseidon
So,
sounds
yeah.
cool though.
So you'd rule the seas. I think ruling the seas like is a pretty. It's a big deal, especially on this
deal.
planet. Like, I don't like
you,
you.
Steve?
Drown.
Yeah.
From the gods we saw, I'd have to say Zeus. I know it's cliche, but throwing lightning at out your hands and stuff, and just the pure rage and fury of the lightning god. I have to go with that. The only other one I maybe would be Hermes, but I don't feel like a speedster today, man. I want the lightning.
Do you want just like Emperor Palpatine everybody? Is that what you want to
Yeah.
do?
I mean, you know I'm a Star
Do
Wars
it.
fan, man. I mean, Luke's right there, so what can you say?
I don't know. You know, I don't think I'd want any of the powers. We didn't really see that many to.
Nah.
They're all pretty. The powers that we did see, we'd already seen in like other medias.
Very
I
true.
think there was nothing, and that's why I'm so disappointed that they just gave Heron or Theron. I can't even remember his name. Is it Heron?
Heron, yeah.
Heron. That's why I found it so lazy that they just gave him Zeus's powers. Like, why not come up with something original?
And they gave him a
Different.
lightsaber as well.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It even had the home. That's what I couldn't believe the most when I heard that. That's like, what? It sounds just like a lightsaber. It's crazy.
yeah.
Speaking
Hey,
of
this-
that, you bring up a
This
good
looks a
point.
bit familiar.
Greek,
Star Wars
Greek
3
mythology, if you
reference.
look at all the powers, you know, the speedster in Hermes, that is the Flash. lightning and stuff. You know,
Yeah, it is.
Palpatine. All our modern heroes that we watch in comic book, a lot of their powers are from Greek mythology and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I've just realised that connection. Maybe it's just me being an idiot, but mind blowing.
So the next one is most useless things. I'm going to change it up. Most useless things except for Heron.
I'm going to say that side Centurion female and her two companions, the Gladiator and the guy with the whip. That they were all three of them. Yeah, she had a purpose in the first 10 minutes of the first episode, but other than that, she became utterly pointless. And then those two guys didn't even need to be in at all.
Steve?
You can tell
Steve,
I'm struggling to find something here.
Steve's struggling to find anything that had point in these series.
You don't have to. I did say from the start, guys. I did say that, you know, a lot of these questions, they're not really relevant for this series because either it doesn't really fall into the category or it's just not enough was shown in the series in order to like answer these questions. So you're more than entitled to skip questions. I mean, I can't think of anything useless.
I feel like most of it, a lot of it was useless. So that's what's so hard about finding a specific most useless thing.
Yeah.
It's like I'd have to go scientifically through it all and just try and catalog it all, list it. But I'll just throw the sword out there because it was like you said, it's most powerful thing, but it was the most useless overall.
I thought Cerberus was quite underwhelming. I'd expect Cerberus to have such.
He ripped his own head off.
Yeah, I'd expect Cerberus to have such a bigger part.
Well, I forgot about that. Now you mentioned that.
Yeah.
What even happened to him? They just sort of had him. He lost his head, and then that was it. He's in the first 2 episodes, and just like bye, powerful dog.
He was there in the background. He was just like walking along, you know, with the demons. That's pretty much what he was doing. I don't remember if he died or not, but he was just like a background character.
I thought he could have had such a big role, and I would expect him to be a lot bigger. He was tiny compared to like the Cerberus you usually see. Even the Hercules Cerberus is massive. To be fair, I preferred Hercules watching Hercules to this.
Hercules, I think he's in it. Now he is in it, isn't he?
I don't think he is.
Zeus mentions him. He mentions when he's on about that quote I mentioned earlier about looking, you know, I can't remember the quote again. It can't be that good, right? He mentioned that another god, and then he mentioned Hercules when he fought a specific.
Is that not who the blacksmith is with the owl? I thought that was Hercules.
No, that's Hemus. He's got a massive name. He's like a blacksmith.
Hippopotamus or something.
He's the one that makes the weapons. He's the one that made Heron's bow and arrow and stuff.
But that's the only time I heard Hercules' name was when he gave him that quote that I really liked, and then he mentioned two other gods saying they didn't use their strength. They might have been strong, but they used their mind and their smarts to defeat this person, and then Hercules used it to defeat that person. That's the only time I heard his name.
I must have dozed off.
Most likely it was boring, that scene.
No, I did see that scene and just thought I wasn't sure if that guy was Hercules. So Hercules isn't even in it. So he's the strongest demigod. He's not even there by Zeus' side.
Yeah.
Why? Why is he not in it?
Probably doing he's probably doing his tasks.
Yeah, he's busy cutting the grass.
At first, when I saw the guy with the hammer, I was like, "Oh, it's Thor," and I thought, "Oh shit, that's Norse."
Yeah.
It's wrong mythology, man.
Favorite fight or moment? That I've got an answer to. You favorite fight or favorite moment or favorite moments if there's multiple ones, like things that out of the whole thing. I mean, as a whole,
does it have to be a fight?
It doesn't have to be a fight. No, just moments that kind of stood out for you guys.
I've got one then.
Go on.
I mean, the final fight, that was the best fight. If we're talking fights, because that was pretty much that's what they spent the budget on, right? Even though I didn't like certain parts of it, it was the best fight. Favorite moment though was in episode 2 when the king. It's a comedy one, but this is the only time it made me laugh out loud, legitimately. Okay. I got a belly laugh out of it. Was when the king went up to the Heron's mother and they got both kids out. He looked at his own kid. Got to say my colour, right? I'm happy now. Then the Zeus's kid came out, Heron, and I quote, "You've made a cuckold of me," and that just destroyed me right there.
Yeah, that
was pretty funny. Yeah.
I did not expect a Greek man to say cuckold, and it destroyed the hell out of it. And that's why I was so happy so early in the series. I thought this is going to be great, and then it fell off a cliff from there, man.
I'll probably say
I watched that scene several times.
On repeat. I would say the action, the first episode is probably my favourite. I think when it depicts what happens with the gods and the giants. I think that's all really well done. And that was when I was watching it. I think it's at the end of episode 1 or early episode 2, and I was like, wow, this is really good. The animation is a top draw. Obviously, it has a rapid decline after that, but that's for me the stand-up bit.
Yeah, I've got 3 that kind of stand out. The first one is the one that you mentioned, definitely the first fight, the Gods versus Titans, like the introduction to the series. I thought that was great. And again, like you, I was expecting great things, and it kind of just didn't live up to that expectation. This is why I say like the first episode it's so much better than the rest. And I even think that fight is better than the last fight, personally. The second is when Heron's getting mauled by the training robot, when he's like, he gets, this made me laugh, he gets to a bit where he's like, I understand now. And he sprints, he just gets bitch slapped like halfway across the arena. I love that. And then the third one was the foggy area bit, you know, with the memories.
Or something.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I
enjoyed that bit. That was a change of pace, because it was kind of, there was things that could have happened in the fog that weren't. Dead. That's it. That
feels they're dead. Yep.
You weren't kind of expecting, like, you know, snakes appearing, and with the girl, I can't remember her name. Her parents appearing.
Alexios.
Yeah.
I think what would have been better with that is the fact that we got the Field of the Dead with characters that we had very little time with, and again, it felt like it was just wasted time on them. Like, it would have been better if maybe Zeus or Hera or Seraphim or Heron had to go through that field, because then that would have been a great opportunity to have a lot more character development. But instead, we'll get this 5-minute clip, which is actually a really good opportunity to give character development to a bigger character, and you just give it these little side bits who are literally in it for collectively 7 or 8 minutes.
Was it only 5 minutes?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying in total.
It's very short, but it's also
that's why I wrote down it was too short. I really liked the fact that it was playing on their fears of all the people in there to make them run or turn around, and I was disappointed how short that segment was. Like 2.
It's also a great place to kill a lot of people off, and they kind of didn't.
It was.
They just killed off every single soldier who volunteered to help them out. It was like, why put them in? Why make them volunteer if you're going to kill them out the next scene? Literally, what was the point?
It's just because I think the main thing of that
action
is gore, and they're like, we just need to put more gore. There's this boring bit here. No, just gore. Just these minions here.
To be fair, one thing I really picked up on when Heron's talking to the Fates and he basically leaves to go save his friends because he has a vision. I felt like this. Hold on, this reminded me very much of Empire Strikes Back when Luke leaves because he has a vision, and then Yoda's like, "Don't do it, you're not ready," and then Zeus is to Heron's like, "Don't do it, you're not ready." I was like, "All right, I've heard this before. This is a 40-year-old plot," but. So I thought, okay, well, he's going to rock up and at least he's going to have a really brutal fight scene and probably lose. But instead, there's the Minotaur's there. He just shoots an arrow through the Minotaur's head straight away and goes, all right, lads, what's going on? I was like, wow. Wow.
Is this one real? One headshot, boom, gone. Yeah.
That's another thing, like bow and arrow. I don't think a bow and arrow will ever be as badass as Legolas.
Yeah. It was Hephaestus, right, who actually gave him the bow and arrow.
Yeah.
That might have been a blacksmith, actually.
Yeah, that was it. I knew.
Fastest.
I knew you had a. It's
I'm butchering it, I'm sure, but at least it's similar.
His wife is sexiest woman in the land.
Ooh.
The goddess of like lost.
Apollo.
Goddess of lost tits, nipples.
No. Oh my god. Right, it'll probably come back to me. His wife is
Cupid.
Is it that Nympho one?
Yes.
From,
yeah, the one. Yeah, see,
I'll find it.
Okay, so the next thing is
Goddess of Porn.
the next thing is, I mean,
Aphrodite.
That's the one. Aphrodite's his wife, which is really weird because he's like very ugly and she's like obviously this goddess of lust and sex, and they're kind of like a couple. It's kind of weird. But
we don't know what he's got downstairs, man. You haven't seen it downstairs apartment.
The big hammer. Anyway.
It's a Dark Souls meme. That's what he's smacking on the anvil right there.
I like openings. Like everybody knows, I like openings in anime. Although there's only one opening in Blood of Zeus, I like the small detail that every opening is slightly different. Like the animation is slightly different, and I also really like the ending, where they had like the character models, and the soundtrack itself is really nice. But the character models and like how they draw the characters and their you didn't watch the endings, did you, Lewis?
I did.
See,
I could tell.
As someone who watches Netflix
face.
all the time, Netflix has a skip intro button, and I just skipped it after the first time.
No.
Every time. I was like,
Dude.
I mean,
That
it's
was
not,
wonderful.
it's not a big intro or anything. Like I said, like the intro is always the same. It's always Blood of Zeus, but like every episode, I like the small detail that they change it slightly,
Yeah.
either the way it appears or like the color.
From a design aspect, it's really cool, right?
Yeah.
Like in one of them, I think the best one, most impressive, might have been the second one because it's like a floral arrangement. Right? The
Yeah.
text spawns in. Then there's a spider one. I
Yeah.
think number 7 was blood splatters. There was a few crappy ones, if I'm being honest.
There were a
but
few
again,
crappy ones, but
it
it's
was
it's
really nice
it's,
touch.
it's different, yeah, because it's it's just lazy. I mean, it's lazy enough just putting in an opening that's just the name of the series, but it'd be even more
And then,
lazy if you just
like you said,
made it the same.
the ending was cool because you got not only concept art, you got the really rough storyboards
Yeah.
throughout it. So
Yeah.
that was a really cool behind the scenes look of it. So it's like they almost put the effort in the wrong area, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you guys like it? If you had to give it a rating, I mean, I think we've already pretty much answered this, haven't we? Go on, Lewis.
I thought it was
out of 10.
I don't know, out of 10, I'm gonna stick with my 5 out of 10. I didn't think it was great at all. Very mediocre. If you like anime and you've watched every major stream anime and you're looking for something slightly different, maybe a bit more mainstream, but most people who watch anime aren't interested in that. I would say if you've I can't recommend it really, honestly. 5 out of 10.
Steve, another 3?
Well, I've got to say again, 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. I'd
3 out
say,
of 10
I'd
too
say,
much generic idiocracy. That's
What about
I
you,
can say
Joe?
about it.
I'd say 5 out of 10 as well. I did actually have 6 on here, maybe a 6 out of 10, but after we spoke about it, I mean, it's always different when you speak to other people about it,
Yeah.
because of, like all the scenes come back to you, and yeah, I think it's pretty mediocre. I mean, they could have done a lot better than what they did, especially with the setting that they had. I could understand more if it was a fresh setting of like uninteresting characters or characters that you had to build yourself, but the characters are already there. Like you have so much potential.
Yeah.
It's just such a shame. So yeah, 5 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 3 out of 10. That's
That is a total of
13
out
out of 30.
of 30, or an average of 4.3 out of 10.
I'll let Lewis do the averages because I'm just
I've already done
crap
this on the
at
calculator.
maths. Oh, you have.
It's 4.3 is the average score.
4.3.
4.3 out of 10.
So that's less
If I
than
hear
a
maths,
half.
I just stare off into the distance.
Yeah.
Thinking better times.
Yeah.
I think anything below, personally, anything below a 7, probably not worth your time. In my
Again,
opinion.
again.
7 or higher is probably worth your time. Like, maybe it's a 7, some people are going to love it, some people are going to think it's a 9, some people are going to think it's a 7. I can't see many people thinking this is like a 7 or higher,
No, I can't.
personally.
No. Especially if you're an avid anime watcher, I think you're not going to enjoy it. You're probably going to have the same opinion as us, or like maybe even lower. But let us know down below what you guys think. Also, keyboard warriors at ease. This is only our personal opinion. We are not reviewers by any way, shape, or form. We are not, funded by whoever Netflix's like competition are. Is it Amazon Prime maybe?
Amazon Prime.
Amazon.
Probably.
Funimation.
Jeff,
But-
calm down. I've said it. Like, he's been nagging at me this whole time, whispering in my ear.
And yeah, I mean, recommendation only if you really, really, really like Greek mythology, and still probably not.
It was a crime. It was a crime how they could screw something like this up so much with the source material. And after binging it, I feel like some international human rights laws have been broken. I'm being serious. I felt dirty. I just couldn't describe it. I felt I need to just not watch anything for like a week now.
No, you have to watch Naruto to get.
I know I do.
Mm,
Need to
get the
to cleanse. I like
the excitement back. I don't want this to put you guys off anime.
No, it's not.
This is
Dude,
no.
I'm loving Naruto.
Dragon Ball Z, Afro Samurai, Attack on Titan, which I forgot to mention last time.
Attack on
That's what
Titan.
I've watched.
Oh yes.
All of these, Naruto, all of these, I was hooked several episodes in.
Okay.
This, it's an outlier. It proves it's not the norm. It can't be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys think? I mean, this is the final one. Do you guys think that'll be a season 2? I mean, this is keeping in mind like
Yes.
how it ended and.
I think that it's very open towards the end. I think Netflix have a lot of money. I think they're supporting a lot of their own content. I think it's actually been received kind of okay. I think it's definitely going to be greenlit for a season 2 if it already hasn't. I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. I think Seraphim's going to be back in it because he's like stuck in hell deciding what to do. Hades will probably be the protagonist. in the next series if that's how it goes, because obviously Zeus isn't there anymore, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be this power vacuum to fill,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be like probably Ares or Hera or maybe Hercules or someone's gonna try and fill that. There's gonna be a fight over that. So I think it will be. I think the position it's in now is a lot more unique than what it was when it started. Literally, it's the most generic Greek story you've ever heard, Greek mythology story. Some guy doesn't know he's there, the son of Zeus. Turns out he is, gets all the powers, does a big fight. The end. This one, Zeus has died, and then all the gods are going to scramble. There's been a massive war internally between them, so they're conflicted and they're torn. I think that's actually a better setting.
Yeah, I agree. I got high hopes for season 2. I hope, like you said, because it is a fresh setting, I hope they do better and just rely on what's already been said before.
Well, lads, I've got some bad news anyway. According to what's on Netflix, it's been renewed for season 2 and 3.
Wow.
So we're gonna have to suffer possibly through some more of it in that sense.
I would like to watch season 2. After having this discussion, I've had more fun talking about it than I have watching it.
And
That's
watching
definitely
it.
for
Yeah,
certain.
yeah.
However, I would like to see how season 2 pans out. So if season 2 comes out this year, we should definitely do another episode.
I'm gonna
I'm
put it on
down.
our
I'm
list.
down to watch a second season definitely, just to
Put it
see
on
if
our
it can
list.
redeem itself.
Yeah,
You've got to give it the chance.
exactly.
Alrighty, so Blood of Zeus, possibly season 2 on the list. That also depends on what you guys think. What did you guys think of Blood of Zeus? Would you want us to have a look at season 2 and then have like a revisit episode? Let us know down below. And I think that's pretty much it for Blood of Zeus. I think overall, I think underwhelming. As you know, you've been hearing us ramble for the last hour and a half. So yeah, I think quite underwhelming. But yeah, I mean, like Lewis said, it's different for everybody. Everybody has different experiences. Everybody has different likes. I mean, just because we didn't like it doesn't mean you won't like it. I'd say still give it a go. Although we don't recommend it, see for yourself. I'd say, give it to like episode 3. If you're bored by episode 3, probably doesn't get any better until the last episode. Plus, if you've been listening to us up to now, you probably got like the whole story and spoilers anyway. So you don't really need to watch it anyway. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching episode 2. Episode 3, I don't know if I should tell you guys what we're going to do on episode 3 or not. I'll leave it open. What do you guys think? We reveal? Should we leave it open?
Mystery is fun, but maybe,
Maybe we should reveal it. I say I'm gonna vote.
reveal it.
It's a yes. Reveal it.
Yes, Steve.
Yeah, I'm the same. Mystery is fun and all that,
gonna
but
reveal
let's
it.
face it.
So we are
People
gonna
want to know what's coming.
talk about the character with the most plot armor ever made, ever. Saitama in One Punch Man. I'm pretty excited.
One Punch!
I'm pretty excited to rewatch this. If you guys haven't noticed, this is like Lewis's favorite anime of all time.
I love it. It is amazing. It's so good.
The next
We're gonna go from
episode.
watching a really good anime to as Jules said, an underwhelming anime,
Yeah.
back to an unbelievable anime.
Yes. I'm excited to be talking about this. And I think all the questions usually that we have, like as set questions, we can pretty much answer all of them. We can make our own like superhero. It's gonna be great. Have you watched it
I'm
before,
excited
Steve?
because you
haven't?
you've watched it. I haven't. So I didn't know it was only 13 episodes, man. I thought it was longer.
Yeah. There's 2 seasons though.
I'm excited.
So we gonna agree to just do 1 season or both seasons?
One, because the second one hasn't been dubbed yet.
I don't mind watching it in some.
No.
I know.
Wait till you
Lewis
watch
is-
season 1,
All right, we'll do season
because
1 then. Maybe, I don't know.
the voice acting is some of the best.
Let's
that I
let
watched as well.
let's let the audience decide.
Ah, yes.
Fair enough.
So if you guys want us to review season 1 and 2, let us know. Season 1 only, let us know. Obviously, we're not going to review just season 2. So it's either 1 and 2 or just 1. Let us know down below. Thank you again for watching. These 2 beautiful gents links will also be down below in the description. If you haven't already, you should really know by now, but me and Lewis do a Platinum podcast as well. You can check that out on his channel. We do that every other Saturday. So we talk about everything trophy hunting, man
PlayStation.
buns, everything.
Man buns.
Everything. L'Oreal.
Pretty cool. Definitely check it out.
And
Great for
yeah,
trophy grinding.
Exactly.
see you guys next time. Bye-bye for now.
There, guys.
Farewell.